Ooh, we.
Oh.
All right. Hey, I'm Joe, and this is Puff.
What's up, everybody? Given the title of this talk, you might have thought we were going to talk about sex, but we're not.
We're actually going to talk about how to become a better human.
But before we get started, we just want to ask you a couple questions. And remember, all you have to do to participate is raise your hand, be honest, and you don't have to participate if you don't want to.
All right, let's begin.
All right. So, parents, this one is hard. Go easy on the kids.
Please don't kill them later, begging.
Raise your hand if you have ever cheated on a test. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you've ever participated in a racial, sexual, or cultural joke. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you have a visible, non-visible, physical, or learning disability. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you or someone you know is gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you are uncomfortable with the way you look. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you feel like you haven't formed a real friendship. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you feel like you could use a hug right now.
Me too.
Thanks for participating. You probably felt a little awkward, but it's cool. Joe and I were in that same awkward position when we attended
NCCJ Social Justice and Leadership Camp known as
Anytown. Besides the awkward moments and hella crying, Anytown was filled with cool people, great food, and lifelong lessons such as
the isms.
The isms include racism, classism, heterosexism, ableism, and sexism.
To give a general definition of the isms are the different practices to keep the norm, which are a white, able-bodied, straight, wealthy male.
Throughout our week at Anytown, we discussed these isms separately, but the first ism that we discussed is ableism.
Ableism is the discrimination against people who have a physical or mental disability.
We had no prior knowledge of this ism, so once we learned about ableism, we realized there were a lot of things that we do that we don't notice that can be very insulting. For example, automatically assuming someone needs your help. You should allow that person to give them the opportunity to make that decision that they need you for help.
Another ism we discussed was heterosexism, and heterosexism is the idea that heterosexuality is the norm. Coming into camp, I honestly thought that the discrimination against the LGBTQ community was under sexism, so right off the bat, I had learned something new. But going into that day, we did an activity similar to the question one we did in our talk, and one of the questions were, are you uncomfortable with homosexuality? And I was one of the only people who had stepped forward. And coming from the household I come from and not knowing much about the community, I kind of understood why. But although I didn't know much about the topic and I was uncomfortable with it, I still took it upon myself to make an effort to learn more about it throughout the day. And because I learned that it wasn't about me feeling uncomfortable, but it was about my peers feeling comfortable.
Right. Then we learned about racism, which is the definition of racism is discrimination, prejudice, or antagonism against someone based on their race. Now, this was the only topic that I walked into Anytown thinking I had a good understanding of. But once we actually started talking about racism, I realized that racism is far more complex than your words and your actions. It was during this topic that I realized that I need to stop worrying about how I'm affected and start taking into account how others are treated in a situation.
Because of our experience at Anytown, we learned how to become a better human.
It's not difficult. It's not that difficult. It's difficult, but it's not that difficult.
So when dealing with a person combating the ism, remember, nothing is more uncomfortable than feeling less than a human. So instead of running away from your uncomfortableness, remember, it's not about you, it's about how they feel.
Next, we have to eliminate that every man for himself mentality. We have to look out for each other because honestly, that's the best way to be.
Also, take it upon yourself to learn more about the isms.
Sorry. Okay. Finally, we want to strive to be empathetic versus sympathetic. In order to be empathetic, you understand the situation that you haven't been through. But when you're sympathetic, you try to make that person's story your story, even though you haven't been through what they've been through.
With all that being said, we want you guys to know
That we want you to strive and learn more about the isms.
acknowledge others' differences, but still look for similarities amongst each other.
We want you to open your mind
Open your heart
and be a better human.
Oh, wait, we're supposed to
Which way do we
take
go?
that one.
Thanks.
We're good? Okay.